Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. And this is Nebraska from the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry by Albert G. Mackey. Nebraska. Masonry was introduced into Nebraska in October 1855 by a charter from the Grand Lodge of Illinois to Nebraska Lodge. Two other lodges were subsequently chartered by the Grand Lodges of Missouri and Iowa. In September 1857, the Grand Lodge of Nebraska was organized by a convention of delegates from these three lodges, and R.C. Jordan was elected Grand Master. The Grand Chapter was organized March 19, 1867. The Grand Commandery of Nebraska was instituted at Omaha, December 28, 1871. In March 1854, the region between the Missouri River and the Rocky Mountains was divided by Congress into the territories of Kansas and Nebraska. The Grand Master of Illinois issued a dispensation for a lodge at Bellevue to petitioners who were vouched for by a member of Garden City Lodge number 18 and by Lafayette Lodge number 18, both of Chicago. The lodge was chartered as Nebraska Lodge number 184 on October 3, 1855. On January 24, 1888, the lodge moved to Omaha. Three lodges, namely Nebraska, number 184, Giddings, number 156, and Capital, number 101, sent representatives to a convention held on September 23, 1857, at Omaha to organize a Grand Lodge. David Lindley presided and George Armstrong was chosen secretary. Grand officers were elected, Brother Robert C. Jordan, Grand Master, and Brother George Armstrong, Grand Secretary. The name of Giddings Lodge was changed to Western Star and that of Capital to Capital. The lodges were then renumbered as Nebraska number 1 at Bellevue, Western Star number 2 at Nebraska City, and Capital number 3 at Omaha. On November 21, 1859, Omaha Chapter number 1 was granted a dispensation by the General Grand King. And on September 8, 1865, when this was reported to the General Grand Chapter, a charter was issued. At a convention held March 19, 1867 at Plattsmouth by permission of the Deputy General Grand High Priest, the Grand Chapter of Nebraska was regularly organized. Officers were elected and installed as follows: Companions Harry P. Dewell and James W. Moore, Grand High Priest and Deputy Grand High Priest. Companion David H. Wheeler, Grand King. Companion Edwin A. Allen, Grand Scribe. And Companions Orsimus H. Irish and Elbert T. Duke, Grand Treasurer and Grand Secretary. All who helped in the organization of this Grand Chapter were later made life members. Nebraska is one of the states which make the order of high priesthood an essential qualification to the installation of the high priest-elect. The Supreme Council of the Southern Jurisdiction, ancient and accepted Scottish rite, granted a charter for the organization of Omaha Council number 1 on July 8, 1867. Delegates from Omaha number 1, Alpha number 2, and Furnace number 3 formed the Grand Council of Nebraska on November 20, 1872. From 1875 to 1886, the Grand Chapter of Royal Arch Masons controlled the council degrees in Nebraska, but they again came under the Grand Council on March 9, 1886. And in 1889, the latter became a member of the General Grand Council. Mount Calvary Commandery number 1 was formed at Omaha by dispensation, dated June 16, 1865. And issued by Grand Master Benjamin B. French. It was organized July 24th and chartered September 6th. Representatives of the four commanderies of the state, Mount Calvary number 1, Mount Olivet number 2, Mount Carmel number 3, and Mount Moriah number 4, met in Omaha on December 28, 1871, and established the Grand Commandery of Nebraska. In 1881 came the beginning of the ancient and accepted Scottish rite, Southern Jurisdiction in Nebraska. Mount Moriah Lodge of Perfection number 1 was chartered January 1st. Semper Fidelis, Chapter of Rose Croix number 1 on January 17th. Nebraska Consistory number 1 was granted a charter April 12th, 1885, and St. Andrew's Council of Kadosh number 1 on October 22nd, 1890. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment, and if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.